Grundy, the first grappler to be covered in the series. This character is easily one of the coolest designed grapplers NRS has ever made, both animation-wise and gameplay-wise. I really hope to see him in a future title, assuming Injustice 3 becomes a thing. To start off though, Grundy is the slowest character in the game. He has a 12 frame stand 1, but it's a mid, which is the slowest stand 1 in the game, but the only stand 1 in the game that is a mid. An 11 frame down 1. The only other good normal he has for footsies and neutral is his 11 frame stand 2 that hits mid, which also can reach at the start of the match. The rest of his strings and normals aren't as good for footsies, but have a use in some way. Except for the god-awful forward 2 string. It's the worst string in the game for sure, and it serves no purpose. He actually has decent block advantage off of back 2, which is a +4 on block low attack, and his down 1 is +3 on block. This is mainly only good in the corner, but if you space out back 2, it's really effective to beat mashing by whiff punishing after making them block back 2. 3-3 is +12 on block, but has a huge gap after the first hit, but you can mix that up with 3-2 or 3 walking corpse. His forward 1-2-2 is +8 on block, but like 3-3, it has a huge gap in between the second and third hit, but you can beat mashing with walking corpse. There's a lot of layers to his offense, and I will cover this in the video footage shown. For a big body, Grundy had a small hitbox when he crouch blocked. He had the smallest crouch block out of all the big bodies, which really helped him against Flash, whereas the other big bodies struggled against him because the torpedo would always jail. He has one of the farthest reaching throws in the game. His anti-air game is pretty good with down 2. He also has an air grab that's really consistent at anti-airing. Air grabs in Injustice 1 had invincible frames on the top part of the hitbox when the move was activated, which really helped against air attacks. It had air attack invincibility, not like overall invincibility, but his air game is easily the worst. His jump-ins are some of the worst in the game, and his jump in general is just really bad. And since his normals are so slow, he can't follow up after jump-ins traditionally for the most part, like most characters can. So he has to overextend the guess right and jail and get his turn off a jump-in. He gets pretty good unbreakable damage, especially if he has a lot of bar and if he has the pain chain active. The only issue with his unbreakable damage is it comes off of a 12 frame stand 1, so if you couldn't punish with stand 1, then your unbreakable damage was non-existent for the most part. He also had weird setups that allowed him to reverse wake-ups and stuff, so it was pretty cool on Oki to use those. He had 1 hit of armor on the meter burn swamp hands, so that could help him get in on zoners at times. Utilizing Grundy's plus frames with his slow normals is pretty hard. Down 2 was 9 frame startup, so that was your best option to jail off of your plus frames, but it was risky, and even if you landed it, you got scaled damage off of it, unfortunately. So unless you had a bar to do stand 1 into swamp hands for the reset, you weren't getting much damage. Walking corpse is one of the key tools he has, and it has 3 hits of armor. That's going to be a major part of this video. He can do cancels off of it. He can use the armor to absorb interactables. He can do crazy grab setups with it or tick throws with it. It can get guaranteed interactables. Like, look at how much time he has to use that interactable and still force the damage on Superman. Because he was set to wake up Super and the Super didn't come out. This is another example of showing how plus on hit the walking corpse meter burn is. Back 1 and the meter burn walking corpse cancel, or Meter Burn Walking Corpse also links on hit, which is pretty good for guaranteed damage, assuming they didn't clash. You could also do anti-wake up setups with Walking Corpse. He got huge damage off of Walking Corpse Meter Burn in the corner. Like, this damage hurts just for getting grabbed in the corner. And it was pretty practical. This is forward 1, 2, 2. This string is +8 on block, and these are the layers that you can do off of it. So if you bait a down 1, you can cancel into down 2 and punish, or you could do Walking Corpse just straight up and punish the easier way. If they jumped and you read it, you could anti-air them, assuming they didn't fall down with a jump punch at the proper time. But in the heat of the moment, I don't think they're going to react all the time. This is 3-3, which is +12 on block. That's one way to utilize it. And down 2 Walking Corpse is probably the best pressure that he has off of Walking Corpse cancels, because it's 9 frames canceled into an armor dash, which is Walking Corpse. And in the heat of the moment, it's kind of hard to stop the Walking Corpse pressure, especially if the character that they were using had a slow or harder to use throw immune attack versus Walking Corpse. Walking Corpse was clashable, but you could kind of mix it up after back 3 to attempt to get unbreakable damage. Like, this Walking Corpse just crossed up, and that's why the clash didn't come out. So you could try to get unbreakable damage by using Meter Burn Walking Corpse, and then follow up with the interactable if possible after back 3. This is the throw immune that Walking Corpse suffers from. Every character had at least one throw immune attack, and it was just very hard for Grundy to deal with. These are all of the tick throws that Grundy has. He has a lot of tick throws, so he can mix up his grabs with a lot of strings and attacks. So whenever Grundy uses his trait grab, he can choose to get 3 different buffs off of his trait grab. This one's the pain chain, which increases damage by 1 or 2 stages. And the combo I just did 5 extra damage than the last. The next chain is the health chain. So that combo just did 35% from Superman. Now after the health chain is being activated, it will now do different damage. It'll do less damage. It went from 35 to 28. The next trait grab power up is the trait, the chip trait. Or chip damage, block damage, whatever you want to call it. Usually Trident Rush does 17% block damage, or 16 if I remember correctly, but that did nowhere near 16 or 17, which is a huge difference. And this little setup is a side switch setup if you decide to use it, and can throw off clashes as well. Trait Grab also has 1 hit of armor. So back 1 is a huge normal that helps out Grundy. It guarantees a command grab if you can see my button inputs. I'm trying to backdash, I'm trying to jump, and I can't get out. And if you did back 1 Walking Corpse cancel, it was just extra swaggy and optimal meter build, but it was much harder. Back 1 lets you get so much follow-up potential and really cool setups. Like if you got a punish off back 1, say like you absorbed the interactable Walking Corpse and they were still in recovery frames from the interactable, you could do a big punish like that if you were in the right moment at the right time. Since Meter Burn Swamp Hands puts your opponent in a standing state, You could do resets off of back 1 after restanding them, which added up the damage a lot. This would allow Grundy to do absurd damage off of resets. I also forgot to mention earlier, Meter Burn Cleaver has 1 hit of armor as well. And this is just an overkill combo that I figured you guys would like to see. But this is not going to happen in a real match. Most of the time the health chain was used over the others because it had the fastest animation, the most damage, and taking less damage is always good. But if you wanted to stall the timer a bit, the pain chain and the chip chain was always good to use too. I'm not sure which animation lasts longer, but the pain chain keeps you closer to the opponent, and even if one is slower than the other, it's very, very slight. The interactable bounces allowed you to get stink setups off your restands for extra damage as well. Grundy's super is one of the coolest supers in the game for sure, and it's hilarious to look at. I told my brother in this example not to use trait because only Superman can break armor aside from a few other characters, and it's really hard if you can't break his armor. But there's nothing else to say about Grundy. I'm about to show you some tournament footage of the character, and I hope you really enjoyed this video.
Down to grab. Oh, got him with it that time. No. The time is running out. He's going to be a good clash. And he does. 11 seconds left on the clock. Even if he had no health, he would have clashed. There'd be no meter. And now Tyrant's in trouble. Tyrant has to do not enough time. Anti-air grab. Got him with the low. Down to grab. 3 seconds. 2, 1. Oh! Tyrant pulls it off! Wow! And just when you think Tyrant couldn't do another amazing comeback in anything, and he does it again!